Welcome to this next episode of Engagement 4.0. If you're not sure what 4.0 and engagement means together, check out this link. This next episode is about a webinar series Markus Bornheim and I just did recently. It was a 3-part series on everything Avaya PRIDIS. We took these recordings of these videos and wanted to make them available to all of you. We hope you find something interesting in here. Part 1 of this webinar series is about everything PRIDIS. Some PRIDIS use cases. How do you approach PRIDIS? How do you understand what Avaya PRIDIS can do for you and your business and your customers here? We also have a special partner coming in, PRIDIS from the Netherlands here, going to show off some of their work they're doing with Avaya PRIDIS, as well as a demo that Markus is going to show on some insurance and claim management, how that can be done more effectively.
Our session, we will talk about Avaya PRIDIS solution, and I will now give the show to Andrew Mayer and Markus Bornheim.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. And thank you for all the people joining here today. It's great to see such a big crowd. And so we're really happy to have a group together so we can share some of our experiences. Markus and I have been working with PRIDIS now for a number of years. I've been working with many partners, clients as well, and industry groups. And we'll talk about that over the next 3 sessions. Today and in the next 3 sessions here. What I wanted to get started with was to show a little bit of why we needed PRIDIS and what it's trying to do, and I like to use my own story when talking about it. If I think back, if we all think back to where collaboration and environment all began, and since I come from a contact center customer care background, as most of my work has been, I use the customer experience as the example. The original experience, the original engagement was across the counter from a salesperson trying to sell you something. They knew who you were, they could see you, they could read your body language, they could see how many children were hanging around your legs there. That helped them to do a better job and sell well. Of course, soon thereafter came the shopping baskets, and you were allowed to walk through shops on your own and not having to be in touch with a salesperson all the time. I started with a small startup here in Europe. I'm based in Germany, called AT&T, with 320,000 employees at the time. And that in the mid-90s was the heyday of contact centers. As many of you probably know and may have experienced yourselves, we couldn't keep ourselves from not having work and designing and delivering and deploying contact center solutions to the market. The contact center was the first change in that engagement. So we now had distance between the customer or the employee that was being serviced and a service agent in a building and an organization separated by distance there. Soon afterwards, of course, the customers all asked us for IVRs because they were getting so many phone calls into their businesses here. But after that, as we changed our name into Lucent Technologies, email came around at the end of the 1990s, early 2000s, and now we had the next step of change from engagement, from not just being distant from one another. Now we also had the time element, so we weren't dealing in real time with the customer, and we had to learn how to adjust to that. As our company has changed again along into Avaya, and this is just my story, of course we have a company that have had other histories here. The Web 2.0 came along, the internet became a big thing, other channels, other communication formats appeared there, whether it's social media or other types of technologies there. And of course, in the last 4 or 5 years, the mobile device has really taken over and become a key component in many of our customers' plans and their deployments of communication platforms and technologies. What this all means, and this is our history, and this is what we're looking at today, and this is what when you're talking to your clients and customers as well, this is what many of them have in front of them. And how do you manage all of these different communication channels or technologies here in a way that really serves the person, whether it's an internal UC type agent in an office here or a customer who's trying to contact a business via smartphone here, in a way that they feel really engaged. So they may jump from channel to channel. They may send you an email and call you a few minutes later. They might want to chat with you on a chat platform here or have a video call set up there so they can share something that's relevant for the conversation there. How do you do that seamlessly? How do you make that all happen? And that's where Avaya PRIDIS comes in. I'm going to hand it over at this point to my colleague Markus Bornheim, and he's going to take on this theme here a little bit more and share you a little bit about BRIDIS and, of course, a number of use cases and some demos.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So, listening to you, I think a lot of your history within the market and within Avaya, of course, is my history as well. So we've done a lot of things at the same time, probably not always side by side. But, well, I think markets have changed. Avaya as a company has changed as well. And if we look back into the messages that we heard in the beginning of the 2000s, when voice over IP was the big thing to talk about, we heard one thing ever and ever again during 2002 and 2004. Voice is going to be just another application on your network. And the emphasis at that point in time was on your network, because everyone was really talking about the network itself. So that was the time when networks needed to get ready in order to embrace voice over IP as a service. And that being said, of course, the 10 years after that, we had a lot of development. We talked about unified communication when we brought some of the real-time communication aspects to the clients on desktops as well. Probably some very specific UC devices were popping up. We saw and we talked about collaboration. So the aspects of mobility were popping up and were embracing the available mobile devices like tablet PCs, iPads, and smartphones and so on. And cloud services were appearing as well. A lot of these activities have been supported by cloud services. And right now, where we are today, we talk about enterprise engagement, and it's about contextual communications, making it more relevant when communication happening to understand why things are happening, adopting real-time analytics to this, and this makes it much more meaningful for all users, for customers, for employees in companies as well. And we are again hearing the same sentence than we had it in 2003, 2004. It's voice is just going to be another application on your network, but the emphasis this time is voice is just going to be another application on your network. And I think we have all seen this. You have been working with Avaya as partners as well for the past probably couple of years, probably as much and as long, some of you, as Andrew and I have, and you have seen all of that happening. We were talking about, well, at some point in time we are probably going to use industry standard servers. This is where we are right now. Voice is just going to be another application on your network, and it's probably not only voice that you're going to see. Right? This is where we are, and this is where BRIDIS pops in right now. You might have heard this product for the first time right now, some of you. Some of you might have known it under Engagement Development Platform or even Collaboration Environment, which was introduced by Avaya in mid-2013. So we are at the end of our third year with the product right now. And I think it's come to a good maturity right now, so that we have more and more projects that we see out there with 3 customers. We are talking about no longer unified communications and call center services. We are talking about customer engagement applications. We are talking about team engagement applications. So you see the application is really the front end that we are thinking about. And yes, it may happen that there will be a hardware phone involved, but probably the phone is not at the center anymore. With BRIDIS, we are talking about bringing what we have in the portfolio and what we had in the portfolio for the past 15 to 20 years, communication platforms and messaging, bringing this into an application-centric environment, adding analytics to it, making it open and extensible, making it fast to react, securing it from the networking side with Avaya Fabric networking solutions, and adding what partners can deliver to this story immediately to this. Because, well, we are not shying saying, Avaya, we have a speciality. We are specialized in communications. We cannot specialize in every single business vertical, but we know that some of our partners can. And this is where the value really lies. Now, going to the next slide, you will see what it is really about when we talk about BRIDIS. We should address this in environments where we see that our joint customers are challenged by time, by being rapid in bringing new services and apps to the market in order to be more reactive, in order to be more adaptive, or just to lower cost because, well, there's pressure out there. It is the pressure of our customers to position themselves ever and ever again in a very, very competitive environment. They are urged to continuously deliver business innovation, and they want to build on existing mobile aspects. They want to embrace the web, as the web is their main IT vehicle, probably right now internally as well as externally. And this is where BRIES really snaps in quite nicely. So with BRIES, we are talking on the one hand side about people who want to communicate and who want to use different media and different devices to communicate. It is no longer important if it's a voice call, if it's an email, if it's a chat, if it's an SMS message, if it's video or whatever, from whatever device. Let it be a PC, let it be a tablet computer, and who knows, maybe in the future it's some kind of wearable with some function that enables communication as well that we want to embrace with BRIES. And on the other hand, besides people, media, and devices, we have business events. So there's always business events around. There may be just a call coming in, which is a business event, because this might be your most important customer you want to communicate to. There may be an emergency happening, and alerts are floating around in the enterprise that need some immediate reaction. Someone maybe wants to break into your network, and you want to know how you can deal with that, not only from a network technology perspective, but linking networking technology in the patient environment. And all of these events, if things are happening on a production line in a manufacturing environment, if something is happening in a think tank of the organization where there's a brilliant idea that immediately needs to be leveraged and distributed, well, these are business events, and BRIES is embracing them all. Now, we are embedded with what we do and with what we did in the past as Avaya and as Avaya's partners in a market that is driven by the digital agenda from the European Union and other markets, of course, as well, where we see there is money spent in digitizing the industry. Industry 4.0 is one of these buzzwords where we talk about value chain organizations, where we talk about the Internet of Things and the Internet of Services. And we also sense, I think personally, probably many of us, if we have children, that our children do communicate differently. I do not know if my son at the age of 10, when he's got his first smartphone, is ever making a phone call with that smartphone. Not sure. My daughter at the age of 16, she doesn't call. They do things differently. They have different knowledge, they have different expectations, and different behaviors and different habits. And they are all the digital natives. They are already at the edge of becoming relevant to the industry, of becoming relevant to the marketplace. They entered this environment already, or they are very close to entering it in the next couple of years. And we need to react to these changed behaviors and expectations. And probably what we all see in here, key technologies for us to build on are WebRTC and our SIP. So both are tangible. You might have heard about WebRTC. Oh, yes, this is the thing, real-time communications from the browser. So no longer PIBX is needed. Go away with your video communication systems. No longer needed. Not exactly. But yes, there's a little bit of truth in this. And on the right-hand side, SIP, you see this in these days in the context of, well, we all hear that major service providers all over Europe, they have announced to shut down their ISDN access services over the next couple of years, 2017, 2018, 2019 or 20. Who knows? But this is a hot topic for many of our customers. They want to embrace SIP right now, and we are there to use these two technologies to help them getting onto stage with their business accordingly. So why do enterprises need Avaya BRIES? There's a multitude of use cases, and we want to show you a few of those today and in the next two sessions as well. We talk about omni-channel engagements, touched on this already. So independently from where you want to communicate from, just do it. We talked about linking business processes with communications, and we heard about this probably a couple of years ago when we talked about communication-enabled business processes, CEBP, which conceptually was very much close to what we talk about today with Avaya Breeze. But 5-6 years ago, the world wasn't there from a technology perspective where we are right now. It didn't lift off because it was too complicated. Now it's going to become very, very easy with Breeze. Mobile apps, web-based apps, and voice and video from everywhere is something that is driving our customers and where they need to react upon. How do they show themselves to their markets in whatever media the markets choose to use? Those that are known today, that are just appearing below the horizon and will be very relevant in the next couple of years. Notifications and dynamic teaming is something which we can easily create within an Avaya Breeze environment and reaching out far beyond the Avaya Aura Core and Breeze, with notifying people, asking them to come to react immediately, control what they're doing. Are they bringing on their knowledge and experience to solve the situation, or do we need to reach out to more people if someone whom we need, whose specialization we need, is not available right now? Creating and enhancing productivity services. Things are happening in enterprises, in workflows, in processes. And if we start looking into these processes, we see that many of those are very, very broken within our customers' environment. Human latency is disrupting these processes, is preventing a process to move to the next step, to the next stage. And this probably is something we get into the conversation right here, right now. Those of you that have been dealing with contact centers, you are very much aware about processes, and the contact center is a very good example for well-organized processes. But now we can reach beyond the edge of the contact center with Avaya Breeze, making it very easy to also set up a workflow that might start in the contact center, which got its termination and the close feedback loop outside of the contact center and the back office organization. We can integrate disparate business applications right now, applications which have not been in our scope in the past probably, but we know that these are relevant to our partners. They are relying their business outcomes on these business applications and processes. So with Breeze, probably we have an element now in order to link something that happens in one process as data being accessible from another process and making it tangible, making it actionable within the communications environment. This is what Breeze is all about. And I hope that this gives you some insight. So it's not really talking about the product. And when Andrew or myself or our colleagues, we are in front of our customers, yes, we name Breeze because, you need a name to propose to something, but we are not talking about Breeze as a product. It doesn't make sense because it's an empty product, if you wish. Because, it's a concept, it's a framework which needs to be filled with life, and it's not once deployed immediately visible to the end user. I think that the examples we are going to show you in a couple of minutes will make this very, very visible. Talking about Breeze is mainly to talk about use cases and customer value. So identifying a use case, where do our customers have their challenges? What is giving them pain points? Why can't their CTOs sleep at night? These are the things we need to understand, and this lifts us to a different conversation. We're getting out of the IT circle. We are getting into the line of businesses, and a tangible use case is something that has the potential to deliver a very valid business case. And if there's a business case to a line of business, probably there's money for that. So this is what we are looking at. And from that perspective, what we should do when getting in touch with our customers, we need to be prepared for the most radical approaches, which we maybe not have tried too often in the past. We need to listen. We need to brainstorm. We should be creative. We should start asking questions. These what-if questions. What could change your business life if you look at this. Think together with our customers is very, very powerful because we immediately know they are embracing this as well if we do this together. And we need to choose our tools effectively. We should step away from PowerPoint. Death by PowerPoint, this is 2000 to 2010 probably. We are beyond that, and we should start listening. We should use what we have at hand. If there is inspiring liquids that we can add to the conversation, help us moving forward. Yes, make sure you're still within your country's laws with that. But the main point is being there. Yourself being there, ourselves being there, being in front of the customers, driving these sessions with them. This is giving insight. This is really helping us. So from that perspective, what PRIDIS is about, and you see PRIDIS is about workflows, and that kind of workflow, this thick red arrow in here, is starting at some business events. It is applying some logic to a treatment of a business event, delivering some outcome. And how could that look like? What is a business event? What is a business outcome when we talk about communication business processes? So PRIDIS events can be things like incoming calls or something happening at a specific location. By whatever means you are going to represent the location, let it be geographic data, let it be someone is in front of a device with a barcode reader, with a QR code scanner, and is doing something specifically at that point. It can be an emergency situation with an alarm that is becoming visible in one system in order to be treated. And all of these events, we can catch these events within the PRIDIS logic. We can deal with that. We can manipulate what the events show us. We can, for instance, with an incoming call or with an outgoing call, we can manipulate the caller ID. And in a minute, you'll see an example of what this can mean and how this is going to change a business process. We can apply speech analytics to something that is happening in a contact center in order to understand not only the mechanics and the traffic volume of the contact center, but the content of these conversations, which is much more meaningful to the lines of businesses. We can probably redirect calls, engage people that we have not been in scope with engaging them personally, but as a functional group that needs to be engaged in order to solve a problem. This is something that we can do. And the business outcomes that we are touching on with PRIDIS also, in most cases, have an element of communication, probably sending a notification to someone by an SMS, by an email, by an instant message. You can pop up screens and populate these screens with relevant information. You can create conferences on the fly for emergency response, triggering Scopia through the web API of Scopia to create a conference room which is only accessible for a specific amount of time before you shut it down again in order to prevent misuse. These are the things where you see that middleware layer in the Avaya Aura architecture and probably beyond the Aura architecture is very, very powerful. So, let's sum up the business perspective of this. Engage with IT, yes, but even more important, we all need to get in front of the line of business, in front of the decision makers. We need to understand their business objectives, what their real problems are, what the budget is they are managing, and how we can get a chunk of that budget in order to drive our projects. We need to talk about how can companies their digital strategy. What initiatives are taking too long? What processes are taking far too long in their environments, and where are these pain points? And these are conversations that we need to have with the line of businesses. I'm not saying we should ignore the IT. No, the IT guys still need to be our friends because in the end they need to support something that we create here as well. But their business focus has shifted over the past decade. So, let's look at some use cases and at some samples. The first use case I would like to show you is something a partner, and you might have heard that name already before, Engelbart Software from Germany and Switzerland have created. It's called Supplier Quick Dial. And here's the challenge. It's discussed in a real customer environment with a company with probably 160 branches. They are a retail company in the furniture industry. So they are selling furniture to the end user, and well, I think we have these houses in every single country in Europe, these huge market stores where you go to on Saturday morning, and you see these are huge, and they have a multitude of suppliers. In this environment here, we talk about 12,000 suppliers, and all of them are bringing their goods to the ramp agent, to the ramp clerk, and things happen that, well, there's delivery coming, new goods are coming, and it's dropping off the lorry, it's dropping off the transport, and oh no, it's damaged at the warehouse already. So what we see in these cases typically is happening as the employees in the warehouses that are working there, getting the goods off, using decked mobile phones. Well, they have mobility or some very special mobile terminal, probably. But yes, it's not built into the process. So when we see that damage, what used to happen in the past is, so the warehouse clerk is putting something down to paper, a written note, putting this in his post box, which is emptied by the end of the day and is brought to the supplier management desk the next day or the day after this. And this written note then is managed from there, from supplier management. Well, you see this is discoupled from the event itself. It's happening a couple of hours after the box has dropped off the lorry. So the supplier manager, now he is getting in charge with talking to the supplier. Well, we've received your goods, but they're broken and we need them again. And then there are questions. What is broken? How did this happen? Is this part of warranty? Was this your risk? Was this my risk? So you see questions, and this is where the latency is coming, because these people that are managing the process are not collaborating adequately. We can change that. And we can change this from the process perspective immediately. And you're going to see how this is looking like. So the box has dropped, things are broken, the warehouse clerk is seeing the broken box, is picking it up, and he's seeing on the way bill, which is sticking to the box, the supplier ID. And that supplier ID, in this case, is unique to this business, to this organization. So what he's doing is taking his decked mobile phone, he's dialing the supplier ID. Well, dialing a supplier ID, does this really make sense? We are intercepting the call in Aura right now because we know a supplier ID is not a dialable phone number. And we use the supplier ID. Breeze is picking up the supplier ID. Breeze is moving this into the CRM system or whatever to pick up and to generate a callable number. The supplier's phone number will be retrieved based on the supplier ID, and then, well, you can now imagine how the process is flowing forward. This supplier phone number is used between Breeze and Aura to make the call immediately between the warehouse clerk and the supplier directly. And these people, they can discuss what is broken, who has done it, whose risk was it. And you see that this process probably is getting down from 2 to 3 days to just minutes. And this is changing business. Another example here is insurance claims management, a different use case. And the challenge in here is that, well, we all probably have an insurance company that we are working with as private persons, and, well, we all sometimes need to claim money back because, well, we are insured. Water damage on a wooden floor, for instance, is a good example. So depending on the magnitude of the damage, probably there's an assessor from the insurance company involved in order to, well, check, is it valid to pay for this or not? And typically the assessor will probably, in some damages, need to go on site. And this is where the challenge in the process is. If they need to go on site, there's travel time involved. probably in this example, they can't do more than 3, 4, or 5 appointments a day because they need to travel between these appointments. Between 4 appointments and going to the first and returning from the last to their home base probably involves them driving 200, 250, 300 kilometers a day. So there's limited time in order to collect the information from on-site, taking some pictures, and really driving the process. As an outcome, well, they can't do more than probably these 4 claims in one day. And this is the challenge to the insurance company. And this is right now where I want to show you something in a real-life demonstration. How can we change that insurance claims management process by knowing where something happens, understanding the location, understanding where something is happening, understanding what has happened without probably going on site, sharing pictures or probably two-way video, and helping organizations and people to more effectively interwork with each other and helping and assisting each other in this kind of process. And this is right now the element of this short slot where I'm always getting quite nervous because this is the live demo part. It may happen right now as I'm changing to share my desktop with you that in your collaboration tool in your Avaya Aura conferencing client, the image that you're seeing is going to be a little bit different. The aspect that you're seeing of my desktop is going to be a little bit different. So in your upper left-hand corner of your screen, you have a blue button where you can adjust what you see on your screen. You can adjust the screen appearance. So please use this if this picture that you're currently seeing is not fitting into your screen. So you should see on the right-hand side my mobile phone, which is just a standard Android phone. And what you're going to see in a second is a application which may sit in the customer's environment, in his call center environment, where the assessor is working in our use case. So the assessor and the claimant, they have agreed on a specific time to be in touch. The assessor told the claimant, please go to the location where the damage has happened. And then when you're there at that specific time, call me, and I will guide you through the rest of the process. This has been established. The call is there. And the process starts by sending an SMS message out from the insurance company to the claimant. And you have noticed that this SMS has already arrived on my smartphone. It's a Smart Insure SMS which has arrived in here, and we'll use that SMS to kick off the process. You see there's a link in the SMS. It's a one-time link that we have created for this purpose, for this phone number only, at this point in time. And clicking on the link is doing a couple of things right now, happening right in front of you. So we are opening a web page on the smartphone. The browser is opening. And we are pushing a welcome page to the claimant. Vice versa, we are retrieving the claimant's location through the smartphone's browser. So you probably might not have noticed it, but there was a quick window showing please share locations coming up from the browser, which needs to be agreed by the claimant, which also happens if you install a new app on your smartphone, which is using location services. So you need to accept that location is shared. So we are aware right now where the claimant is. And we have used that location data to place this in Google Maps to show where the call is where the caller currently is. And you will see I am somewhere in Germany between Frankfurt and Wiesbaden. This is the location of my home office. This is where I'm currently running this call from. And as we zoom in, well, the accuracy probably is 2 to 3 meters from where I am actually right now with this needle pin. And we understand, yes, this is where the claimant currently is, and yes, this is the address that he is giving to us where the damage is. What we also see and what we understand from the smartphone right here is the smartphone is charged, batteries are charged to 71%, and the operating system language that the user has chosen is German. So if by whatever means we think that it's going to be difficult to talk, there's difficulty because of language, we see what is probably the language that is the native language of the caller. We could see if we can get someone in who is a speaker in that native language as well to enable a smarter and a nicer communication. So this is the start. This is just the start. And we now need to communicate the rules because you remember our use case. The assessor is no longer going on site. We would like to take advantage of the caller being able to perform some of the tasks, basically taking photos from the damage, that the assessor would do with going there himself, look at the damage, taking his digital camera, doing some photos, and then doing the paperwork afterwards. So what we do right now, we push to the caller the rules of the game. And you see, the rules of the game are in some kind of disclaimer. And this disclaimer right now is telling, okay, following the rules, this is what we expect you to do, and please agree to these rules and press the continue button. Continue with the process, which is great. We do that. And then the next step we're going to do in the process here, before taking the photo, we want to make sure that the claimant understands how he can take a photo in the best possible way to make this useful for the assessor. And this is what is going to happen. We push out a short video to the claimant, and he's then clicking to start the video, and hopefully you are going to hear as well on the audio track of this conference what this video is about and the instructions how to take good photos. Just listen. This is a short instruction of how to take pictures to document the damage. When in the room, please make sure there is enough light, open window blinds, or switch on the light. Then, take photos from all sides to allow the insurance to evaluate the damage well. So wonderful. We are done. We have instructed him on how to take these pictures. Now let's move forward. We want to take him a picture. And he could say, ha, I have done already a picture of a much bigger water damage from my neighbor's house or from someone else's house, and I would like to use this one for the insurance process because, well, I could probably get more money with that bigger damage. But no, that's not according to the rules of the game. So we now, from the central point of communication in the insurance contact center, we ask the caller to open the camera. So he is clicking on the upload button, which we just pushed to him, which is opening the camera, and we ask him, yeah, please take a picture of the wooden floor and the water damage, which he does. He is taking a picture, and this picture then is uploaded immediately through the application into our contact center. And if we want to take a couple of more pictures, yes, happy to do that. Also taking a picture from outside today. Really nice weather here between Frankfurt and Wiesbaden in Germany. So you will see these pictures are coming up immediately. And yes, we are managing that process from the central side, and there's no app involved. This is all web-based in that element of time. Right, so that's great. Probably we want to engage with live video as well. Well, we can use the live video for the claimant to take us through the house, from the front door into the room where the damage is. And the live video is using WebRTC here right now. So you will see, this is me, hello, just doing this call with you in front of my PC. I am the assessor right now, And you see the invitation coming up to the smartphone. We are accepting the invitation, and we are having a video communication. Of course, you see me twice right now because on the left picture, I am the assessor and I am the claimant as well. But we can use this camera right now to show around a little bit how it's looking. So you will see my home office right now, okay? Very private data here. And well, we can record that in Scopia. We can use that data for whatever we want to use. And I think this is showing you much easier how we can change processes, how processes are executed. Takes me back, hopefully, to my presentation in order to continue with the presentation in here. Here we go. So I think you agree these two processes, supplier quick dial and insurance claims management, they are probably transformational. And we manage not these 4 claims that we did before, but we're probably able to manage 10 or even more claims in that way. And you can imagine the cost effect this has to the customer's business. So you can, if you want to see that demo again, there's a video on YouTube which is explaining the use case, which I'm happy for you to click on, done by Andrew and myself as well. And with that, I am handing back to Andrew.
Thank you, Markus. And you always surprise me with your bravery to do live demos in such an environment and doing it within the web conferencing. It turned out, I think, quite well. And I think it shows the way we can now take multiple media, multiple channels here, and start mashing them together so that there's seamless communication here with customers or with other users. I want to shift that a little bit, and Markus mentioned a little bit of it already, but the role of partners in the story of BRIS and some of the things we're doing with partners here. And one of those pieces here is we brought up earlier this year a Snap Store. If you've not heard of this, of course, you probably understand what app stores are, whether you use whatever smartphone, Android or iOS or whatever it may be there. Avaya brought out its Snap Store earlier this year there, where we're going to offer some of our own applications. These applications you build on that are built on BRIS, whether you build them, we build them, our customers, your customers may build them, can put them up for sale or for free download on the Avaya Snap Store here. It's available here already today. It's going to be enabled for e-commerce for the European countries, as I know most of the people on the call here are in different countries across Europe. If you go there today and try to sign in, you'll find out it's a U.S. or North America only, I believe, limitation there. You can still access the store under the HTTP, the link there, snapstore.avaya.com, where you can go see the snap-ins that are available today. For us here, particularly in Europe, they're informational. You'll see links to more information for some of the third-party snap-ins that are there. There's links to the supplier, to the person providing the snap-in, so you can contact them directly here. The Snap Store and the Snap-in area there is where we see how BRIS is really going to develop into a really useful platform, a middleware for your customers. Avaya itself has built the platform here. We're going to build some core functionalities there. Next week, or in 2 weeks, or the next webinar, we're going to go into much more detail of something on the BRIS platform in the contact center space, as I said there. But we're seeing far more interest and more capabilities coming from our developer communities here. So the Snap Store is one place to show off what you've got there, and we have a number of partners already that have created their snap-ins here and put them up for show, and some of these companies you might know. Here in Europe, some of you may be familiar. Engelbart was already mentioned here. CCT, their Contact Pro desktop application there, also very, very prominent and important development partner here. We're seeing partners that weren't traditional business partners in the sense there that are now getting interest in developing applications on BRIS. We're also seeing traditional partners that have been doing, wouldn't just say traditional reseller activities here. Maybe they were already doing using TSAPI accesses into the PBXs to make things happen here, finding the open and standardized APIs that PRIDIS offers here, a new way to maybe shift some of those applications into more functionalities and to another platform where there's more opportunities to use it here. Along this year, we have one of the partners here I'd like to move over to and give the stage to for a couple of minutes, the partner PRIDIS. I'm really happy to have join us here today. Based in the Netherlands, they'll introduce themselves and their experiences with PRIDIS here, just to show you how long they've taken with PRIDIS to get to know it, what it's capable of doing, and then turning it into some of our first applications here. And at this point, I'd like to hand it over to Dick here, the CTO of PRIDIS. Hank, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Andrew, thank you for introducing me. When you look at, I will do a short introduction about what we do and how we are picking up the opportunities that are going to be there with PRIDIS. And I'm trying to get to the next slide, Andrew, but seems
looks good to me, Hank. I see it there. The Who Are We slide for PRIDIS is showing.
Okay, we don't see it here, so
just go ahead.
Okay. Well, when you look at when the slide is there, when you look at PRIDIS, who we are. We are founded in 1994. We are, as Andrew told you, based in Nijkerk, the Netherlands. When you look at traditionally, are we doing CTI work from day one, and that results in that we are able to do products, consultancy, and services and support. When you look at, we have a local development organization, which means is that we are fairly quickly able to make demos and that kind of stuff. We don't have long times and long lead times in that perspective. When you look at, we are doing business worldwide with partners and customers. And due to the fact that we are pretty flexible, does it also mean is that we are able to fulfill some special requirement of a lot of special requirements that customers might have. We are independent, and that means that we, as Markus also mentioned a few times, that creativity can become very important. Well, we are independent, and in that perspective are able to use the creativity sometimes even further than the vendors that are involved really actually like. When you look at, be a partner of Avaya, but also from Microsoft, Unify, and from Cisco. That means that even when we are talking about a converged environment, that we are able to do some work over there. When you look at what we have developed over time is what we are calling our best common practice. And actually, when you look at the green and the blue balls, that are actually the activities that are popping up more and more, especially when you're going into a customer that would like to see if PRIDIS as a platform could help them to optimize some of their workflow processes. And when you look at from the black, the orange, and the red ones, that is actually more or less the traditional work that we have been doing for ages. But when you look at, when you're going into discovery and business process optimization, we are able to help you out over there. Now I'm trying to get to the next slide again. See if that's working. A little bit more quick. Hopefully, yeah. When you look at when we got when we heard about that Avaya was going into the PRIDIS environment, we decided, okay, let's start to explore probably mid last year what we can do it is because we are also recognizing that you have to go through a discovery phase with your customers to really get into the use cases where you're able to justify the investment that is required to do it. So what we did over there is to help customers to do the discovery. We built a demo environment where all kinds of different aspects that could give him, the customer, a hook to help him with the discovery process, to make it tangible. And we look at it's going over here from a very simple directory with all kinds of telephony integration, but also external integrations through open APIs and hooks towards all kinds of different services, up to what we have in the demo is actually a Lego robot we are able to fully control through this environment. Why did we do that? Because we see that the Internet of Things is becoming also more and more important, and people are starting to think, okay, what and how could I use that in combination with an Avaya Breeze? Well, when you look at, as I mentioned, we started in '94, and actually that means that we have 20 years of developed software components that have been used in the traditional environment. When you look at what we are currently doing is we have been looking at, okay, what do we have, and we absolutely do not want to throw that away. So actually we have been looking at that and said, okay, we are recognizing a few use cases where we actually are planning to create snap-ins for. Well, when you look at what might be interesting is actually the IP Office presence snap-in. When you look at how we can do that, because we have actually in our existing development framework the ability through an API connection to get a presence out of an IP Office environment. So for us it's fairly easy to get that into the Breeze environment to be able that the communication manager can also start doing things like that. So actually, we have identified a few snap-ins that we see that could bring business value. Where are we in this stage? Actually, we have said, okay, the calendar snap-in, that's the one that we are targeting to have available in a very short term into the snap-in store. And actually what this this snap-in is going to do is that a call is coming in at the communication manager. We, based at different parameters, are checking into a calendar what should be done with that particular call. And then we will send back that routing request towards the communication manager, and the communication manager can deliver the call over there. The typical use case is, for instance, an emergency room where actually the available nurses have done the booking of who is available in a fairly commonly used Exchange calendar application. When you look at the snap-ins we are working at can actually be used by an Avaya business partner to be put into a complete picture, but it can also be used by system integrators, so that instead of developing everything themselves, that they can leverage the applications that we have been already be creating. So that's a little bit what we are doing right now with Avaya Breeze and how we are handling this kind of projects.
Thank you, Hank.
Now I would like to hand it over again to Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Hank, and I appreciate you coming in and giving this. I think it was important to show that we're finding partners out there who have been working with our technologies for many years and finding that they can do things with stuff they already do today and take it into a new environment and not have to recreate the wheel. And we're finding many of those partners, and we're going to have on future webinars here a partner, hopefully each call, to present what they've been doing and how they've been making this work here. Just to close this down, I know we're coming to the bottom of the hour here. We have some resources we'd like you to go check out. For those of you on the call here that are interested in more details of developing for Avaya Breeze, DevConnect is the location for you. If you're not a DevConnect partner, for those who might not be, it is a free. You don't have to pay for membership here, and then you get access to the forums and the information and downloads there to get started with Breeze. Of course, we're on LinkedIn and Zing for more discussions. We try to share information there, also use cases and things we find that might be of interest for the community, as well as you can ask questions there. Technical questions are best asked on DevConnect in the forums there. Our developing community in Avaya from research and development monitor those queues of those forums there and can answer your questions. Check out YouTube. As Markus showed, even his demo that he showed here today, we're trying to put up more and more videos on YouTube. If you just Google Breeze, or you go into YouTube and search for Breeze at Avaya, I'm sure you'll find a number of hits, and you might find even me. And then there's a link at the bottom here, a bit.ly link with Engagement 4.0, which I maintain and try to keep adding use cases, which are PowerPoint format that you can download for different cases. You can take those examples, you can copy them, you can put them on your own slides, show them to your customers if they're relevant. And that, I believe, is the end of this webinar here today.